down.
I'm trying to get everything like
Now.
brought. If anybody comes in here that's new right off the bat, what we're going to be doing is highlight reels. If you don't end up staying for the entire stream, if you do stay for the entire stream, it usually takes us until about 10 minutes in. I give everybody time to show up and get into the chat, and then we go from there. So, yeah, give me 1 second here, guys. You stay for the entire stream. It usually takes us until about... Let me shut that audio out. That's a little too far down, isn't it? There we go. That looks okay. At least in my opinion, that looks okay. Before we get going, hey, Greg, give me some feedback on video and audio quality, if you will, please. I'm trying some new settings, so we're going to see how it all works out. And today we're going to be talking about land acquisition, if you guys didn't catch the title. Streaming audio is good. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Do I sound like I'm yelling at the camera or the phone? My phone is my webcam. Man, I can't see anything. You want to say hi? Am I being overbearing?
I'm just waiting.
These are my streams.
No, I'm okay with that. This isn't my thing, remember? It's always been your thing.
Oh, wow. We do look really, like, whitewashed out down there, huh?
You also opened that curtain, so that sun is just beating in here.
Here, I'll try closing that. We'll see what happens. It's because I switched the black pillow out, isn't it?
That's actually still not bad. With that window, it's light enough.
Hey, Steve! Yellow. We were just talking about matchy colors, too, because I was like, you know what? We should take this pillow. We actually had this one here. I'm like, yeah, that just looks really dark, you know? I don't know. I didn't like it. So... I felt like this looked a lot better. All right, so I think I got...
more towards you instead of me. You got me mostly in the
Well, because this is kind of your...
I don't want it to
This
be
one
like
is
that.
your
No.
stream. It's your discussion.
It's not.
No?
It's ours. We talked about this.
How's that? Is that better?
Lay down. Lay down.
Yeah, that does look better with the curtain
Lay
closed, huh?
down.
That was too much light. I'm actually very confident about the way I have this stream set up. Everything looks good. Thanks for the tip on closing the curtains. It's our lighting lady. I know. Shut up, Art.
All about the technical stuff here.
Because I have no idea what I'm doing.
After a year, I would think you would.
But this is lives. These aren't like, oh, it's complaining about stream health now.
Poor connection. What is it?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, we can't help that one because I don't have a curtain on that window.
Unless it's because of that one.
No, I'm just white.
Yeah, I'm kind of red-skinned, huh? I'm probably like the only Indian in the United States that's got a beard.
I can close that one if you think.
All right, we'll try it.
Side.
I mean, hey, we're all learning here.
I don't think it's that one. I think it's that window.
Probably. Does that look any better? Tell me when it catches up.
Not really much to make a difference, but let it go. At least it doesn't make my face look so white. Up there. Wait to see what this one looks like.
I imagine Jeff Jackson is probably one of the people watching and not commenting because for some reason, Steve, you might have to help me figure this out too. I have not blocked Jeff Jackson or anything, but for some reason he is not able to comment in the live chats. And I've done everything I can to try to figure it out. See, this is why I'm going to tell people to like just skip the first 10 minutes of this so that we can figure things out. Yeah, I could do that too. See, I've been Googling it and I can't figure it out. Like it's, and if there's like a way that you can see people that are blocked, then we'll talk later. We'll talk later. This is homesteading. This isn't let's figure out live stream tech. Oh. So as usual, we got our little itinerary here. Let's see, we got 5 in here. Morning, Mark McCarty. Well, afternoon now. You can say things.
I don't want to talk over you.
I talk over you all the time. It's just
but
you can butt in.
Life. That's life for me.
Oh. I don't like the camera all the way. I like our little setup, but the camera is.
It's because of the
There's
table.
like
If we had a shorter
difference.
coffee table, like
Yeah.
the coffee table you keep saying you
We
want
should
to
have
make.
used the kids' Lightning McQueen table.
I like how you wait till now
I know.
to decide all of this.
Oops.
Let's schedule this at noon and take 15 minutes to figure out what the heck we're doing.
Yeah.
Instead of starting at 11:45.
I know. I was because I was over there playing with stream settings on private and trying to figure it all out. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into this. People will come and go. We already lost 2. This is where the cool guys hang out, right? Okay, so just shared it out. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate that, man. All right. Well, this is kind of
No.
what? No,
It is
what?
not mine.
It is slightly her discussion.
Okay, I will jump in, but you lead it because this is your forte.
Yeah.
You're the live streamer.
I'm the live. I'm making
I'm
you
the
a live
backup.
streamer, though.
No.
All right. Well, the other day, what was it? Friday.
Yes.
The appraiser stocked out because. Okay, so our land is coming off of a larger farm that she's inherited shares of an LLC when her father passed away. So we're kind of splitting off from that. And the first part of that whole process is for the appraiser to come out and they have to evaluate, like, because the house that we live in, here to support the backup, it takes a little bit of time. So, yeah, the house that we're living in, my garage, the barn, and there's two equipment sheds that are all part of the LLC and part of the farm. So the appraiser has to come in and evaluate all of those buildings and then do an evaluation of the land and acreage itself. So yeah, he was here on Friday, and I actually wasn't home. I was in town getting stuff to fix the roof because our house is 158 years old. The roof's not 158. It's probably like 15 to 20. So we're really close to needing a new roof. But yeah, I have to do some flashing repair before winter. So I was in town and the appraiser showed up. So she was here for it.
I mean, it's not like he discussed with me what he was looking at or anything. So what do you want me to tell him? Like what he looked at?
Yeah.
I had to open the garage. So he went in and looked at the garage. Whether that is what's determined on what the worth is on that, I know he made a mention about it being cinder block. He also looked at like where we are currently settled with property line. So like right now out there past the garage where the horse pasture and the fence line went up to at this point in time. I also know he looked at our well and asked, what was the two things that I said he asked? Whether it was dug or drilled?
Yeah, dug or drilled.
And you remember what ours is?
Our well is a hand dug well. I'm pretty sure it's a hand dug well. This thing is like 2 feet in diameter. The pump is on separate lines in our basement. It's not submerged in our well. And we've got a big like 3 foot diameter cap over top of it. But the main tube going down our well is about yay big around. I'd say about 2 feet. Go with steel when you put a new roof on. Greg, if we can afford to put a steel roof on, that's what we're going to be doing.
That all depends on where we're at, though, because we also talked about eventually either completely redoing this house or tearing it down and doing our own build. So it all depends from here.
Yeah. That's going to be a topic for another discussion, because I do love living in a 158-year-old house. It is awesome. You can go in our basement. Half of our basement is hand-hewn timbers.
Which is one thing that the appraiser did make a mention of when he went in the basement. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I did hear him say something about that.
Yeah, and our siding is cedar shake siding.
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, so the only down draw is if we decide we're going to have to either completely gut this house, rip all the floors out of it because our floors have a sag in them and we have jacks in the basement. They can't be jacked up anymore because it's going to start diminishing the structural integrity of the house. So we would have to completely gut our floors out, try to save what we could of those timbers to keep it like that little bit of original. And I mean, we'd have to gut the walls out, rip the siding off, and like re-insulate. We'd have to take the entire roof off because our roof ridge it smiles at you from the road. And it's like very sagged down.
There's really just a lot this house would need in order to be put back if we were to keep the shell and the structure the way it is. There'd be a lot of things we'd have to redo. And it's almost not worth it, especially if we're trying to make this more ours. And I mean, we've talked about it. We want more than 2 kids. So
Yeah.
at the moment, we only have 3 bedrooms. So there's a big possibility that we'd want to just completely do something different.
Yeah. Hey, Walter, I see you there. We're doing pretty good here, man. How are you?
Yes. Yeah, weighing the options is a big thing because while Zach likes the structure of this house, it does have a lot of character. I know there's a few reasons as to why a rebuild would be better off, and I know one of them is because stairs. Let's just be flat out honest. Stairs. Yeah. Zach would rather it be all on one floor.
So there's another alternative.
We haven't gotten a hold of anybody yet, just because the appraisers only come out Friday, to even look at the possibility of getting this separated anyway. We haven't wanted to overstep anybody at the moment. We've just been kind of going along with the motions because we're obviously not the only ones that are involved in this. I have my uncle and my cousins as well that are all involved in this, and we're trying to keep it running as a group instead of we're not trying to work against each other.
We have to fully own this house before we can really start tearing into it. I have started some renovation projects around here to get us by until we decide exactly what we're doing because things are out of date. This house has not been updated or remodeled since probably the 80s. Hey, Hiking Deep, I see you there. Walter, I'm a certified home inspector, and I'm getting ready to go back to school for my home inspection license because Ohio is changing their laws. So I'm very aware at how to evaluate the structure of a home. Like it's a safe structure. The structure is not
surprisingly
compromised in any way. It's just that there's a really bad buckle in the floor, and it's because of the age of everything underneath.
Settling, right? Over the years.
A little bit of settling, but not a whole lot. Our garage floor has settled more than the foundation under the house. Now, she brought up another point about stairs. I do want a 1-story house. I don't want to live on 2 stories. Our steps are very steep, and it sucks to walk up and down. It's easier for me to climb in and out of ravines than it is for me to walk up our steps. So that's kind of another consideration. And I think what we ultimately want to do is in the future tear it down and put a cabin kit on it. Like a big 1-story cabin kit. Because we sit on top of a little hill in our yard, and it's just big enough that we could put a fairly large 1-story kit on it. But that's 10 years down the road, 5-10 years down the road, you know.
Okay, so back to the appraiser. After looking at the well and the property lines as to where things that we have set up now, he did come in the house and he looked around my kitchen, the bathroom. He did go upstairs and take a quick peek at our bedrooms and stuff upstairs. The one comment he made to me, which I don't think makes much of a difference, was that it seems bigger on the inside than when you're looking from the outside. I mean, that's not going to change the square footage or anything, but he did make that comment to me. And then the next thing he did is I went and I opened the cellar doors, and he went down in the basement. And they spent quite a bit of time down in the basement, but because of my dogs, I didn't get to hear a whole lot of what they were talking about. The more that the appraiser and my uncles talked, the more my dogs barked. So the only thing I heard was about the ceiling, the hand-hewn timbers in the ceiling. And then after that, he just kind of walked the perimeter a little bit, made some more notes, and that was it. I mean, it was pretty, about 15, 20 minutes, and they were gone.
Hiking, actually what I've been talking about, we do eventually want to look at that possibility, but any outbuildings that we put up, we are not going to run electricity to those buildings. So the only way that those buildings are going to have power is if we put solar on them. And that was kind of what I was wanting to do with them anyways. Because, I mean, let's face it, in those outbuildings, you really don't need a whole lot. You're running lights and possibly fans from time to time.
You don't. I mean, in garden buildings and stuff like that, you really only need during the day. Lights. Yeah. It's not like you'd want to be out there at nighttime any.
Yeah.
All right.
So eventually that's a possibility. It's not something we've really started to look into yet. If we do look at going off grid with our power, I think that we would be better off if we went with a mix. Exactly, Greg. With our area, I think we'd be better off if we went with a mix of solar panels and wind generators. And there's actually quite a few homes and farms around here that have windmills running. So yeah, that's something that I've been thinking about. We'll probably honestly never be fully off grid style homesteaders, guys.
Probably.
Well, our plumbing is technically off grid because we have a well and a septic. So the only utilities we have is electric and our gas, but the land that we're on owns the mineral rights. So we haven't paid for gas in 6 years. We're not, yeah. She doesn't ever want to be totally off grid. So yeah, and then I guess that they walked around. He would have taken him up to the barn to do. This is why I kind of wish I was home, because I would have followed them around to see exactly what they were doing, just to make sure that it was all getting like tacked on together. So yeah, the barn and the outbuildings would have had to have been evaluated. We'll definitely, when we need help to start putting things together, this is going to be one of those times where I suck up my pride and I actually start asking people for help. There's no way that I'm going to be able to do all this. I mean, even us as a family, like it's a homestead, but it's going to be farm work. We're going to need help. And I do have a couple reliable people in my family that we can call. Our neighbors seem to be pretty helpful whenever it really comes down to it and something happens. Yeah, Steve will be here. Hell, you better be here. But yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a struggle for me to have to overcome, because I've never been one to ask for help, and I'm going to have to. It's just a fact of life with this. No matter what you want out of a homestead, I really think that you just have to have people resources. It's just, I think that's how they all work. Even some of the bigger homestead channels I've worked, like, neighbors rely on each other. You're not out there just totally on your own. Greg, that would be an awesome collaboration for everybody involved. Okay, so what we have to do in order to split off from the farm. Works for booze. That might be something in the making here soon. I shift when I'm nervous and I'm not used to this yet. Good morning, Burnaby. Look at the Amish, they help each other. Yep. The Amish and Mennonite, and the Mennonite community in our area is very prevalent. Is that the word I'm looking for? The technological end of a shovel.
Lay down.
Okay, so in order for us to split off, there's a little list of things that need done.
Well, first we need to know the value of the land, because that's the biggest portion. And then the value of the house and the garage, because we technically have to take the value of the house and the garage out of whatever land would have been my part.
Well, it's not just the land. Like, we'll lose your 25% out of the value of the barn and the 2 outbuildings.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Yeah, that's what I mean. The first part of it is getting to know out of the land, and then the buildings values is what I would be getting out of it first. That'd be the biggest part. And then from there we'd go to, because our power currently is connected to the barn. So everything that I pay in the electric bill is what powers the barn and stuff as well. So we'd have to split from that so that our stuff is only ours. So it'd be powering the barn, and then we really would have to separate the water supply?
Yeah, because the barn gets all of their water
from our well.
So they would have to have a well drilled at the barn, or tap into another water source up at the barn. And the power would have to be separated, because the barn power comes out of my garage. Or it might be its own little service breaker down in the basement. I can't remember right now. Okay, build a barn in a day. Steve, we're actually going to get our barn delivered, because we're going to do a dual 40-foot shipping container barn. It saves a lot of money on a barn build, man. I've been looking at barn build kits, and they're, for the size that we would need, they're like $15,000 to $20,000 to have it delivered. The design that I'm looking at for building our barn, I think I can do it for $8,000 to $10,000. So we'll have half of the cost in the barn and have the same the same ability for the structure to last. Greg, a survey, yes, we will have to have whatever we end up with surveyed out, because that'll have to go to like the county auditor so they know what we own when it comes to taxes, until we can figure out how to... In Ohio, you can qualify for the Homestead Act, and there's a way that if you have so much land, you can qualify for tax exempt if you show that you're a homestead or farm that's self-supporting. So that's also another possibility, and something that I am looking into, and that's another future discussion when it comes to us breaking away. That'll be another part of a live stream.
The big 40-foot one Zach was talking about, what did you say? It was like $3,500?
No. You can get a 20-foot shipping container in my area for $2,000, or you can get a 40-footer for $2,400.
$2,400.
And what actually helped me determine the size of the barn that I need was I was out at my mom's boyfriend's house looking at his barn, and he has a 40 by 40 barn, and I'm like, oh, well, that would be... I'm thinking back to Mark's barn, and I'm like, that's about what I need, because we're looking at having to need about 4 stalls and then room to store hay and equipment. Oh, well, Burnaby, I'll have to talk to you about that, man. If you can, I think I put my email down in the description. Email me. I'd really like to talk to you about that. Where are you from? If you don't mind answering, just like general area, not specifics. I don't want your address. So yeah, we can do 2 40-foot shipping containers for like $5,000, $6,000 delivered. And I think that there's a couple shipping container outlets near us that would offer free shipping. And then it's basically just walling off one end and building doors across the other. And then I want to put a traditional, like, rounded style barn roof over top so that we could have the hayloft up top. Laredo, Texas. I'd still like to talk to you because the process might be similar and it just gives me an idea of what I'm heading into. And then, yeah, we would have to have a survey done of whatever we end up owning. So that'll be its own live stream discussion later in the future.
The next biggest thing is that this farm was signed into mineral rights. So the next part of that would be having to split the mineral rights or possibly losing it, which I know almost nothing about.
Yeah, that's something that I'm still looking into, is how the mineral rights work. Because I haven't figured out yet if it's determined in Ohio by where the well is located, or if it is determined by what property the gas pocket is technically over. We have no idea, so that's something that we'll also be trying to figure out. Because if we do end up losing the mineral rights, I'm going to look into heating alternatives, probably like a gas wood burner. It's been a day. A wood burning furnace. There we go. Whether it be indoor or outdoor, probably outdoor. So that way right now all that's gas in our house anyways is our furnace and dryer. And our furnace is a high efficiency dryer. Or our furnace is a high efficiency furnace. I'm done talking for a minute. You can. It's your turn.
I guess I can talk about separating from the pond, because we do power the pond as well. There's a pond pump to keep it, whether it's keep oxygen and stuff in the pond, keep it cleaned. But I'm going to be honest, Zach wants the pond, doesn't mean it's going to happen, because my uncle's the one who had it dug and all of that. So I'm aware that he is probably going to go for it, but Zach does want the pond. So if we don't end up with it, the next part would be the power to the pond would have to be separated.
I didn't want to bring that up, but I do want the pond.
It's on your list. What did you expect me to do?
No, I mean, I didn't want to bring up that I wanted the pond.
Oh, well, I'm just being honest.
Steve, that's why we started doing this series, so that when people start trying to do this on their own, like, they can go back and look at like you've done with the Bushcraft Build series. It's a live record of how I know my back is kind of sagging on me today. It's a live record of what has had to happen for that to happen. So I gotta fix this. I'm like, my back is tired today, and I'm sagging on myself, and it's supposed to rain, and
you can't just throw out it's supposed to rain. How are people supposed to understand what that means to you?
There, that's better. Because I live with a spinal cord injury, and I always feel when the pressure in the air changes, and I'm not complaining, but I'm human. Call me anything, but don't call me human. Is that how it goes, Huntsman? I'm a broken machine. So much better than a photo album. Like, And hell, maybe YouTube will stay around long enough our grandkids will be able to look at this and be like, oh, that's what Grandma and Grandpa went through.
Look how funny looking Grandpa is.
I know. This was before he was in that gas-powered wheelchair thing. Oh. I swear I'll never be in a wheelchair, guys. You'll see me rip around the yard on a four-wheeler before I'll be in a wheelchair.
Oh, God.
Anyways. So, yeah, I did forget to bring up the pond. We would have to separate the power from the pond. But I'm the only person down there.
Yeah.
I'm really...
Even my mom commented on that.
I'm the only person who really uses the pond, and... Okay, it's a rough topic to get into. That's all I can really say about it. The pond is a rough topic to get into, and that's all I'm really going to say, because we're trying to not have... We're working together with everybody to try to do this, and that's how it needs to stay.
So we're really trying not to have hurt feelings or have anybody feel like we're stepping on toes or overstepping boundaries that we shouldn't. So we're really trying to be as respectful with this as we can, because everybody's working together at the moment. So we just really want to leave it that way. And yeah, so we don't want to bring up something that is not appropriate for us to bring up and things that haven't been talked about. So.
And I have a very loud, very opinionated mouth, and I don't back down from anybody. So we just try to, I just try to be nice when it's coming to this and keep my mouth shut. It's what's best. Live streaming, guys. Oh. Did we talk about all of this already?
Except, I mean, having to, obviously the ultimate goal then is to set up property lines then.
Yeah. After
knowing what we would end up with. Obviously what we're going to end up with is at least the house, the garage, and the yards and the property lines that we have right now. But we're also, the goal is to walk away with land. I mean, you know, we need more land in order to have our homestead the way we want it to be.
Oh, the looks I get all day. Thanks, Waller.
It's a look of understanding. We have been married, 6 years now? I almost said 7. I'm getting into your habit.
I know, everything for me.
Is it extra? You're tacking on an extra year.
My dog was 10 instead of 9. We've been together for 8 instead of 7. It's what was it? When I turned 32, I thought I was turning, or no, I was turning 31, and I thought I was turning 32. We argued on that one for like 3 days.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. And I actually had to like do the math. I'm like, oh wow, am I really? What happened to a whole year there? Anyways.
So the ultimate goal is to have, you know, what we have set up for property lines.
And then I think what we'll end up doing... But I'm not that old, man. I'm only 32 now. Right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm not 33 yet. And then, yeah, I think what we might end up doing when we find out what we own, and it's not necessarily in a way to try to, like, be antisocial and cut us off as much as, like, windbreaks, because a lot of the fields out here are very wide open. I think what our plan is going to be is to plant trees all the way around our property. That's
your plan.
Yeah,
that's the one that you
my
said
plan.
You wanted. Not that I'm disagreeing. I'm just saying that's what you brought up.
Yeah, and I think I want to do a mix of like sugar maples and oaks and some walnuts and some cherry trees and I'm gonna look into a couple different trees that grow well within our zone.
No.
Like our growth zone, so that I can possibly have trees to cut down every 10 years for timber.
We haven't thought about renting it just yet because we don't know exactly what we're ending up with. So there's a possibility we may end up with just what we need, technically. But I guess after that point, if we end up with more than what we think, then we would talk about renting it. But at the moment, we're probably looking at not.
I'm not really wanting to rent land out because we do have access to hay cutting equipment. So we do need hay. We have the horse, the chickens and the ducks like the hay. Now it is so much better to bed your animals on straw. Steve, I just saw that. The harvestable rotation on the trees, that's something I considered too, because as I start to cut them down, like replenish them, but put something different there.
Why don't you finish one thought and then move on to the next question? So finish the thought on the hay. Steve's not going to get mad at you if you put that on pause.
I know. So cutting the hay, and we live 1.5 miles down the road from a sale barn, so we could sell
if we have an abundance.
If we have an abundance.
Because we are still looking at possibly having cattle and too for our own beef. So there's a possibility we won't have extra. That all depends.
Yeah, it would pay for the taxes, which we fully understand, and that's something we'll take into consideration. But we also need to be able to we need to have enough to do what we need with. And it'll really come down to a lot of... It's going to come down to the negotiation process because, I mean, while we do want land, we don't want to take more than what we can manage. Even if there is the possibility of renting out. We are trying to be considerate that there are other land farmers in the family.
And we're looking more towards being self-sufficient and not necessarily getting what we can out of it just to pay for taxes and stuff. Because honestly, right now of what I pay, because I did pay a portion of taxes this year, it's not unmanageable if we didn't have renting the fields. I can still manage it. So it's not completely out there either that if we didn't rent the fields and have that kind of income, we could still manage doing the taxes and the insurance.
Yeah.
It would be a nice help, but it like we've said, it's all dependent on the land and what we're managing. And, like we've said before, we are working with everybody else in the family at the moment. We're not trying to seem greedy or, we're trying to be considerate of everybody at this point.
Another aspect to consider is the 2019 land average for renting farmland in Ohio, and that is like aerated field with the drainage installed, was $150 an acre. So yeah, that's just something else that we'll have to consider when we see exactly what it comes down to that we end up with.
Finish your thought on Steve now before you move on.
Okay.
Finish the rotation on the trees.
Harvestable rotation on the trees. Yes. I'm trying to remember exactly what kind of tree it was I was looking into, but it grows at a fairly fast rate in our part of the country. It's a hardwood tree, and I want to say it was like some kind of aspen. Or a birch or something like that. It was. I really think it was one of those two like general species, but they grow to a harvestable size in I think 5 to 10 years, if I remember right. It's been about a year or two now since I've looked into this, and that would be harvestable for lumber or for heating purposes. Because I see Walter's question on there too. My interest would possibly purely be lumber, because we are talking about acquiring another parcel of land that's next to us that is fully wooded. And that would give us a wood lot if we decided to use wood for heat. Either way, though, the trees around the property, grow them and harvest them as we can for lumber, but I also still want to plant trees that we can get resources out of, like the sugar maples. We can get the acorns, we can get walnuts. There's actually walnut and beech trees and hickory trees. I think there's hickory trees on the farm already. So here through trapping season, I go out and I start collecting whatever nuts and things I can find. And we're going to start bringing them home to try to get our own trees going.
Acorns for what? You said collecting acorns. I'm trying to understand what you're using.
Well, okay, acorns because one, we can eat acorns after they're processed correctly. And two, I started collecting acorns last year because I put them out as little like feed piles where I hunt, because I don't hunt over corn. But if I can collect a resource in an area and put it out, that's what I do. What?
When I catch the squirrel, be the squirrel.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing out of this.
And yeah, I really, that is something I do for squirrel hunting. I don't do that for deer hunting. When it comes to deer hunting, guys, I believe in fair chase. I don't hunt over baits. I don't. All right, Greg. Yeah, Boxy is going to be showcasing my channel later, so if anybody here wants to see that, go over to Boxy Outdoors. Thanks, Greg. I'll talk to you later, man. All-purpose furnace. There is a furnace company, I think it's Brunks.
Probably.
That's not that far from us.
Oh, yeah. That's the furnace in the RV place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brunks.
Up on 45.
And they do sell furnaces out there that are... We had one growing up. My stepdad could put... We burned wood, so he did that. But you could also run coal, and this thing had a... It had something on it that you could hook a pellet feeder up to it and run it off of pellets too. But he never ran pellets, we just heated with wood.
Pellets can be expensive.
I think pellets cost... Okay, the cost of burning pellets I think is comparable to if we would have logs dropped off and processed our logs for firewood in our specific area. I'm not quite sure what pellets go for, to be honest, though.
Home Depot used to charge like $200 a pallet.
$200 a pallet?
Something like that, I think. I mean, that was...
I know you can get a load of logs in our area for $700.
That was like 8 years ago, though, that I worked at Home Depot, so I hard to believe it.
Has been a long time, huh? We are getting old, guys.
I've been with the post office 6 years.
And then as I was looking up landlines the other day, I found out that there's like a half acre over the side of the hill that we've been using, but we don't technically own. It belongs to the neighbor. And they have never said anything to us.
What's burning pellets?
What's illegal in your area? Pallets or pellets? If that's what we're talking about. Okay, yeah, I think that was really all that we had to talk about. So if you guys have anything to ask, feel free. Especially if it's, I guess, about the house or...
Yeah, that's all you got on your list.
The garage. Like, we will have to be doing quite a bit of updating to the house. A lot of our electrical outlets in the house are actually still two-prong. So that's one of the biggest things, like, that I really need to start updating around here.
Wish we had more too.
And we will, yeah, we'll have to. I think that our service is right on par. We've got like 150 amp service, but we're lacking in power outlets. I'm really curious as what he was talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to guess that it takes almost a minute for our live chat to catch up with real time. And I have the latency set ultra low.
That one updates faster than this. Because I watch them pop up on there faster than this one, but I can't read them up there as easily.
I'll bet if I had the dashboard up instead of just the live stream, it'd be a little bit easier, huh?
Feeding you.
Oh. Okay, yeah. In our area, they can put corn out and hunt over corn. You can, well, really any bait, I guess. But yeah, I do know that there's a lot of places where it's not considered a legal practice yet. I'm not ragging on the guys that do it. Do whatever you got to do. Stream delay has to be turned on and set to 0. I'll remember that for next time. Thanks. I don't necessarily believe in the practice. It's not something that I do, but guys, we are very much do whatever you want to do. Just don't bother other people doing it. Hey, JV. Thanks for stopping in. We're not. I don't care what people do. Go out and do you. Just don't bother other people while you're doing what you want to do. I live my life and don't push it on other people. My my YouTube channel is not for me to push my lifestyle on others. It's just, this is the life we live. That's all.
Do some Q&A if you want. Not just house stuff. Q&A on us if you want. It's up to you.
I don't care. We've yeah, I mean, we've only been at this for about an hour. I like to go for about an hour and a half. Seems like a good medium. Right? Everybody, there's too many people focused on live the way that I do. And I don't know. We should all be able to do what we want. Live the way that we want. So yeah, guys, I guess she wants to do Q&A about us. What do you want to know about our little country rose here, as
No.
Steve so eloquently put it one time? Yes, guys, Huntsman actually did a very good feature on our first live stream. That was awesome. So thanks, man. Even though we both caught a lot of flack out of that one, it was okay. Mike Cole, how's it going, man?
Winter homesteading.
Well, our plan for winter homesteading is I've got to get the little country flower. I have to get the chicken pen.
Don't embarrass me, Steve.
I have to get the chicken pen put up, and they're going to get, I talked about this in the last stream just as an idea for the chicken coop, but our chickens are going to get a greenhouse for over the winter, and I'm going to make their coop a little bit bigger. The ducks, we raise our ducks in tractor pens, which I guess are really four-wheeler pens because I pull them with a four-wheeler and not a tractor. So they get parked for the winter, and we just keep fresh hay and straw in there for them. Wintertime is really when I start doing more work to the interior of the house because I'm kind of stuck indoors more outside of running the trap line and hunting, which this winter is going to be a lot more not happening so much because Archer's going to be born at the end of November.
Well,
flowers.
I guess a chicken greenhouse and a regular greenhouse are two different things. Eventually, we want to try. I mean, we're going to be doing gardening and stuff, but I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a greenhouse for gardening. But to make the chicken house into a greenhouse is easier to keep the heat in for them for the winter.
I want a greenhouse. Even if it's just a small little one where we can start our seeds in and get sprouts going like early February. Because I've spent, gosh, how long did I work for him? 7
At
years?
least 5. No, because you didn't do it the
6
whole time
years?
we've been together. We've been together.
That's right, I skipped one.
So, and this year you barely went back. So about 5 or 6 years or so at Bonnie Plant.
I think we could say 6 to be safe on that. I spent 6 years working in industrial greenhouses, not little family greenhouses where they grow flowers or tomato plants. I worked for Bonnie Plant's greenhouses in Homeworth, Ohio. We put out 3,500, at a minimum, 3,500 flats of plants a day that ranged anywhere from 8 to 50 plants on a flat.
I'm about done with it, Steve. I'm about over this. 8.5 months.
Yeah, I want a greenhouse. The greenhouse was fun, and I think that if we did one just big enough, that would also be another option for income out of the farm, out of the homestead. You guys are going to catch me doing that a lot because I'm going to want to say farm, and it's not necessarily a farm. It's going to be a homestead.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Walter. I appreciate you stopping in, man. Yeah, whenever I get to the crossbow, I'll shoot you an email or something. It's just right now is really busy. I'm about a month behind on content, and we're doing the live streams.
Well, that, and I've been asking you to clean out your gear room for like weeks now, and I had that whole week off of work, and I was like, I'll help you, and
We
nothing.
didn't touch it.
Well, that, and because I cleaned off that table, and you were like, oh, can I use that for my gear? And you ended up turning that into your desk.
Yeah. I got a lot of stuff to do right now. But yeah, I was thinking something of like a 15 by 30 greenhouse, maybe 10 by 20, but no smaller than that. We do have to look at certain ways to make an income out here too. A little bit more than just how do we feed ourselves. What?
I didn't say anything.
It's just the looks. I don't know
After 7 years?
But it's the looks on live streaming, so they're a little different.
I'm trying not to look all stoic, as Steve said.
The stoic country flower.
I'm trying to engage.
Oh. Right? I mean, we're so much better to hang out with than home improvement tools. They don't talk to you. They're not very like conversationally engaging. Right?
No.
And then they have to sign off with their initials and a time at the end of the checklist.
If I did that, would you get more stuff done?
Probably not.
No, exactly, which is why I don't do it.
JV, I've wanted goats for like 4 years now. 3 or 4 years now, I've wanted to get a goat. We're thinking about it. Okay, this is another one of Doug and Stacy's off-grid with Doug and Stacy. This is another one of his concepts that I'm kind of gonna adopt into this, and he calls it the be a master of one, and it is mastering each task or livestock that you're gonna have on your homestead. So, like, master your birds first before you move on to sheep or goats. master your sheep or goats before you move on to like cattle or horses.
No, he wouldn't lose the list. He just likes to make the list and leave it sit on the table and then not do anything that's on it. Because I've watched that happen many times.
Yeah.
You cross maybe 2 things off the list and then you're like, oh, I'm done.
Oh, there's a thing in the disability groups. They say like you should focus on a task a day, and if you get your task a day done, then you should feel successful. And I get my task a day done, and I still don't feel like I got anything done.
Why do you make a list of 6 things then? Why not just make a list of 2 things that you want to make sure you get done in a day?
I don't know.
Can you please?
I started to get a routine established when the kid went back to school, and then when Archer's born, that routine's just gonna be out the window again.
No.
What was I getting at?
I don't know. I wasn't listening to you.
She never listens to me.
Don't say that. That's a lie.
Waking up is a task. It is.
Stop
you know,
it.
those first steps
Quit
to get down the stairs, and
Go on.
most mornings she makes coffee, but this morning she didn't make coffee, so I had to do that.
Oh, heaven forbid you had to make coffee. It's because I was only gone for an hour.
Oh. It'll get done whenever.
Maybe 6 months. Oh, God.
Hey, Rich, how's it going, man? We're doing a little bit of Q&A now.
It's not really a whole lot of Q&A.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of...
bullshitting.
Picking on you.
But, yeah, Rich, so we went through the appraiser stopped on Friday and went through the house, went through the barn, looked over the property. Now we're just kind of waiting to see... we'll have to wait to hear back from them to know what everything is valued at before we can go into negotiation and figuring out, you know, what we end up losing or don't end up taking as far as land goes. Hey, you had real questions. They were good ones. I mean, we don't really have a whole lot of winter homestead preps to do because we're going into this brand new homesteading project right as winter is getting ready to kick off. So yeah, a lot of our winter homestead streams are going to be home repair. I do have some things on the outside that need done. I have to do some flashing repair outside. I will have to do some drywall repair upstairs in our room.
It doesn't matter if I give them the task or not. It usually ends up in Band-Aids. It's not my fault.
Band-Aids and sandwiches. Gotta have sandwiches. I was actually thinking about an egg sandwich for lunch. That sounds good today.
Have fun with that.
I know, I'll have to make it. I told her, what was it, a couple weeks ago, I said we should do like little giveaways with the homestead thing. Like we'll give away a dozen eggs here and there or something. I think that would be really cool. What do you guys think? Hers was like, well, that might be a nightmare to ship some eggs.
That's because I work for the post office and I deal with people like you that come in and say, hey, let's ship this.
Yeah. Actually, JV...
I saw it. You were called out.
JV, my hay cutting, the Hay Day with Mom video, our hay is stocked up for the winter, but it's being stored in Atwater because we don't have the means to store it yet.
It is hard to ship eggs. And he's like, no, these places ship these eggs anyway to people who order chicks. And I'm like, you do realize that they're hatched by the time they get to you, right? And it's usually like a 2-day shipping method. And he wanted to argue with me. So, you know, I've only been working for the post office for like 6 years, but he wanted to argue with me.
Well, because I've seen YouTube videos of guys getting, like, well, not guys, but homesteaders getting, like, eggs shipped in so they can do these little hatching projects.
Here it is.
And I'm like, oh, that'd be cool to do.
YouTube.
Yeah.
I've seen it on YouTube, so you can just do it.
No, we covered that in one of Steve's streams the other day. Just because you see it on YouTube doesn't mean you can do it.
My point exactly.
Yeah. So you saw me doing 64 on the 4-wheeler? Yeah, that was fun. I took it for a 6-mile ride yesterday. And I actually started, it doesn't look like the tread started to wear. It actually looks like they got hot and the front surfaces of the tread started to slightly melt. And I didn't do anything over 50.
I am technically a Fed.
JV, we're going to be doing a dual 40-foot shipping container barn with a hay loft up top.
That'll be easier to store hay. Right now we put it on a pallet under a tarp, and I can only stack about, I don't know, 5 or 6 bales before it gets unmanageable.
It's once you hit about 55, I think the treads on that are so soft it stands up on the center tread, I think, and you get like this little bit of a wave and wobble. And it's not because the alignment's off or anything. I think that the 4-wheeler stands on those center treads once you get about 55, and it gets a little squirrely. Now, the bald old tires that were on it when I got it, I actually had it cruising up to 72. 72 or 74 was the top speed I've had it to so far. That Can-Am is a lot of fun. But it's not a Honda. And I was used to Hondas. Those 800Rs are torquey. It's an 800-pound machine with like 78 horsepower.
Mm-hmm. That's where you had it too.
Yeah, it was out on Valley right in front of our house. I want to get it on dirt and see what it'll do. What do you want? I'm about to get in trouble. It's my lap dog. That's the same size as me.
But you got her on the new couch. Yes.
Yeah, Rich. 74. It's a Can-Am Outlander 800R. So it's not your average 4-wheeler. And yesterday I posted a video. I hit 64.
Yeah, he is. I just bought the helmet, Steve. I don't know what else to do from there.
Okay, when it comes to the birds for winter, I don't know how I didn't talk about this.
You did a little bit.
About the winter prep.
You did a little bit. But we really don't have a big plan for the ducks because we still free ranged ours last year. They just don't like it as well because of the snow.
Yeah.
And we still left them in the tractor pens. With them being in the tractor pens, it keeps the snow out of their area. But they both have enclosed duck boxes that we stuff with hay so they can get in there and stay warm.
We will have a live stream the day that I park both of the duck pens, because that's going to be a homestead. That's a fairly major homestead chore, so I am going to live stream when I do that. But they'll get parked, they'll get straw or hay stacked up in their pens so that they can get in there and bundle around and stay warm. Even though they do have duck boxes, And yeah, like she said, our tractor pens are fully enclosed in tarps, except for the front we leave open so they get the airflow. And we just started to change their feed over so that their feed has more protein and fat in it, so that they have that, they can start plumping up a little bit before winter hits. Hi.
Down. Good boy. Got his wet nose all over the side of my face.
Yeah, Rich, that Can-Am is just, those are a whole other level of ATV, man.
Sydney. No.
But I can't get mine to do a wheelie, and I think it's because I'm too light. I think I actually have to like stand on the back rack to get mine to wheelie, so that I can push all my weight down. But as of now, I can't sit in the seat and pull it up. I'm too light. I'm only 107 pounds, guys.
We haven't had to, back on the ducks, we haven't had to winterize so many of them until this year, though. So this is going to be, really, it's going to be kind of new. Because, I mean, last year and the year before, we've only, last year and the year before, we really only had 3, 4 ducks, maybe. Now we've got 7, 8, 9. So it's going to be a new concept. And no, that was my dog. It was not a little horse.
And another thing with the ducks, we actually today did separate. Okay, we have 3 breeds of ducks. We have 2 Rowans that are our oldest ducks, Chester and Queenie. And then we have our 7 other younger ducks that we just got this year. And 5 of those are mallards, and 2 of them are khaki Campbells. What we did was we took the 2 khaki Campbells. We've had the mallards and the khakis together since we got them.
Because you have to socialize your older flock of ducks to your newer ones. You can't just throw them all in. Or what we dealt with when we tried it the first time was a lot of bullying, and it's not, so we kind of you have to socialize them first. They have to kind of work out a pecking order. So your idea was we put them in the new pen during the day to get familiarized with it, and at night they're going to be put inside another pen inside the big duck pen so that they get used to our older ducks. Because if not, then they just get the crap beaten out of them.
And our mallard Drake he's just mallards are small, guys. I never realized how small mallards were until we raised them. But they're so little. They're only like a 2 to 3 pound duck. And our Rowans and khakis are both like 4 to 6 pounds. So our mallard Drake, Van, he looked funny trying to do his thing with the khakis.
It's really the same with chickens too. I think it's all flocks, really, because we had to do the same with Jack for the longest time, and
our rooster lived in our house for almost 2 months, guys.
Because you have to get them used to each other and get the pecking order filled out before you can just let them go.
JB, I'm having a little bit of a struggle to find time to get out and do Tom Ritter's challenge, but as soon as I can, I'll be out there doing it.
Did you raise pheasants, Steve? That you know that, or is it just something you know?
I might look into that, because that would be cool if we could raise pheasant chicks to let go. Yeah,
because there's not a whole lot around this area.
I grew up hunting rabbits, guys, and in Ohio, when my stepdad was growing up, rabbit season and pheasant season used to run hand in hand. Because beagles flush pheasants out fairly well. I only ever saw him shoot 2 pheasants in the entire time I was growing up hunting rabbits. So I know that there's a lot of programs in Ohio for pheasant hunters and trying to bring the population back. If we could get in on that, that'd be awesome. 400 chicks would take up a whole storage container, or a whole shipping container though. Could you imagine the cousins and the neighbors if we just opened the doors and released 400 pheasant chicks out into the field once a year, every year? Oh my God, that'd be priceless.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, we used to have a sheep and they would do the same thing. It's like, just tear it up.
Yeah, I haven't heard my mom complain about her goats yet, but I think that part of the reason she hasn't is because she actually does have them in a very big enclosure.
Yeah.
And they're out in...
They're not roaming free like he's saying, if they're roaming around.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, it makes sense, though. It does. They do tear it up. Just...
I do know the state will send you free trees. I did run across that when I was just looking into like what kind of trees grow best in Ohio for lumber and wood burning purposes. Okay, I get it now. Mom's goats are so fun. Loki, her little one Loki is just awesome. And it really, I don't know, it looks like once, because she fixed her goats, whatever they call that. I don't remember. I think that once, like, he got done with all that, he quit growing. He has not gotten any bigger since that vlog video that I put up where I was, like, bottle feeding him. He's maybe gotten an inch or two taller and has not put on really hardly any more weight. He's just stayed little. The goats were so cool. That was so much fun.
That and your mom socializes them a lot, so they're very people friendly. They just like people. Especially with the boys. Yeah. They love the boys.
Yeah, my mom's got 4 grandsons with a 5th on the way, so she wanted her goats to be able to socialize with the kids and not have to worry about like the kids getting barreled over or butted around. So mom's done everything she can to try to socialize them, and she's done really well. They love people.
They love the boys, and they don't really, I mean, while they fling their weight around and stuff, they don't really barrel the boys over. They just like to play.
Yeah, I'll have to look into the programs for the state with raising wild game, because that'd be really cool. Especially like pheasants. Turkeys, I don't know about turkeys. We got a pretty fair population of turkey in the area. We don't see them on our farm, but I mean, people that live, my chiropractor lives on the other side of the LLC's property. And then I've got a buddy that lives, there's a line of woods that runs along the backside of our entire property. And it's between our farm and a golf course. So the deer travel up and down that farm and that plot of woods. And the turkeys follow the golf course.
You gotta hit it today.
So we don't see the turkeys on our farm, but my buddy that lives on the other end of the strip of woods, like half-mile down the road, sees the turkeys, and my chiropractor at the other end of the golf course sees the turkeys.
No.
But yeah, we do not see I have not seen a wild pheasant since I was probably 15 years old. So it's been like 17 years. And I've really just started recently seeing wild rabbits come back after that year that I took out 4 coyotes on the neighbor's farm.
Speaking of, there was a dead coyote up on 534 on the way to Berlin.
I've been seeing a lot of it. I was
surprised, actually, because I almost thought it was a dog. And then when I looked as I passed, it was definitely a coyote.
I've been seeing a lot of roadkill fox lately. I don't like seeing the fox. So I think it's really cool when states go through different programs to try to bring back native wild species. Because I mean, over the years with coyotes coming into areas that they haven't been in for a very long time, you know, the predation factor is insane, and there's not as many trappers as there used to be. So coyote populations are going crazy, fox populations are going crazy, coons, possums, all of the egg eaters are just really hard on the turkey and pheasant populations.
The post office
Hi,
does
Mo.
a survey every year. I know for the carriers, they get this survey in the spring asking about how many rabbits and young turkeys and older turkeys that they see out on a delivery route in I think it's a week's time. Because I know some carriers, and I used to make fun of it because it's like, seems like the times that they want you to look for the survey, you never see turkeys, you never see rabbits, and then all of a sudden you start seeing them everywhere when you're not doing the survey. So we were laughing about that, but I do know the post office does a survey like that just to see what's in the area.
We're doing well here, Mo. We actually have like the very first official steps of us getting our homestead have happened. We saw the appraiser on Friday. So you'll have to kind of go back and skip through the stream, but we talked about that entire process and what it entailed, and we talked about a little bit of the home repair that we'll have to go through, and this is actually, you know, guys, these, up until the streams I've done up until these, I feel like I kind of struggle with the flow of things, and I feel like these last two streams for the homestead have actually went over really well. It is you. It's entirely you. You make yourself blush.
No.
If the curtains were open, guys, the whitewash wouldn't be here. Hey, thanks for stopping in, Burnaby. Oh, hey, no worries, Mo. This is gonna be. I don't worry about people coming into the live streams, because I think the way that these ones are conducted, I actually got really good views on our first one. So, hey, come hang out whenever you can. You've got your own homestead going on over there. I understand. And we're going to be, once things kick off, guys, we're going to be doing like some record length live streaming. Slowly getting more comfortable with it. It's getting more like hanging out with your buddies. Then again, I'm getting more of my buddies in my live chats, so it works. So, yeah, guys, instead of having a company come in and repair our roof, we're going to live stream that one day. I'm going to, oh, Jay, I figured you were there. I'm going to have to suck it up one day, and I'm actually going to climb up on the roof and do it myself, because I'm not paying somebody to come in and do it for $300 to $500 for what needs done, when I went to Home Depot and bought the stuff to do it for $40. And I absolutely hate roofs. I don't like, I'll climb trees all day. I hate climbing around on roofs. So, yeah, we're going to live stream that, and if I happen to fall off the roof, y'all are going to see it happen live.
Oh, God.
I'll just put a little, like, string on my phone so that if I fall off the roof, it comes with me. Since that's what we're doing most of our live streams from anyways, is we're using the phone.
You know, when we talked about death audio, that was not part of the
You can sell my death live stream.
that was not part of the agreement.
Download it, delete it off YouTube.
Go lay down.
Sell that. God, you'd make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's
My
not
husband
helpful.
died on YouTube,
That's
and this is
not
how it
helpful.
happened, guys.
That'd not be the way I'd want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh.
Steve's really gonna end up embarrassing me one of these times.
Why? Little flower. What is your deal today?
Wants the attention.
Old man.
Send a get well card.
Spinal cord injury number 3. Oh. We're not just homesteading with spinal cord injury. We're getting spinal cord injury while homesteading. Oh, wow. All right, guys. I think I'm actually going to get ready and shut this down here in the next few minutes. We
should go get food and go get...
Yeah, we have to go pick
groceries.
up our kid and food and
We should get groceries.
our own running around. Hey, Mo, I'll be in touch with you and we'll start... I'm really trying to get more active in the live streaming community because I know that there's this little pack of us that kind of float around together. I do try to get into your lives even if I'm not in the comment thread and let them play because I got a little Bluetooth speaker out in my garage. I don't really listen to a whole lot of music out there. I listen to you guys live streaming. So yeah, we'll have to coordinate a little bit there. See if we can work together. How's your I know that didn't you just recently get monetized? I think that worked out in your favor, didn't it?
Need out.
Yeah, time to go out.
Come on.
Outside.
Come on.
Yeah, Jay, I'll be Boxy's gonna showcase me tonight. And all right, Mo. Yeah, I'm on Instagram as Half Pace Outdoors. Okay, I have to talk about this real quick. I was not originally gonna go with the name as well as it rings off. I didn't necessarily want everything to be Half Pace. Like Half Pace Outdoors. I've got my Half Pace Wood Shop. I've got the Half Pace Adventure Vehicle. Mud Tramp 715. How's it going? Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate the sub. We are, however, going to be shutting it down here in the next few minutes. Okay, so the Half Pace Homestead was actually started by the Huntsman. My wife was like, we should just go with Half Pace Homestead because it rings off really well. And I'm like, I don't know. And then Steve was like, oh, we're going to feature the Half Pace Homestead today in the Dirt live stream series. So we're Half Pace Homestead now. It's just how it works out. Life will roll on and you just get it how it goes. And we're going to let that flow just happen naturally. I'm going to guess that Miss Rebecca is the Mud Tramp 715. I really appreciate the sub and the follow. I do apologize that we're like getting ready to close things down. You missed hanging out with my awesome wife today, which... Well, I guess she's going to be in a fairly large portion of these. It's not all just going to be me. It's the family. This is live streaming, not live streaming. It is a whole new concept. And even though we are doing our homestead live streams like from the porch and today's from the living room because it's kind of windy and supposed to rain, so I didn't want to get caught out in that. We are going to be completely live streaming our homestead, guys. Anytime I go out for a build project, JV brought up the ducks earlier. We'll be live streaming when I park the duck pens for the year. My duck pens are mobile. And that's because we try to free range our birds as much as we can. I want my animals to have quality of life. I don't want to raise animals imprisoned in cages necessarily. So, yeah. I appreciate that, JB. Huh?
It's okay.
I didn't really cut you out. Here, my awesome wife is back, Rebecca. Now you can meet Mrs. Half-Pace. I almost said Mrs. Sarah, but I guess it would be Leisure. Oh. So yeah, I really appreciate everybody stopping in. And yeah, Rebecca, thanks for the sub and the follow. I look forward to seeing you guys all in the future. We'll share things as they roll out, guys. If you're new, make sure you go down there and subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. If you've got the YouTube app, you'll have to go in there and make sure your push notifications are turned on. Our live streams are totally random right now. I'll give you guys as much notice as I can, but as we see things happen, the live stream covering that topic is going to be within a 24 to 48 hour period. This one, we saw the Appraiser on Friday, so we wanted to come on here today and talk to you guys about it. I know, she's making fun of me because I talk with my hands.
Hi.
Oh.
The structure behind this.
Yeah, she's my organization. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and shut it off. I really appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out and being part of the discussion. And everybody that's new, I look forward to seeing you in the future. Jeff Jackson, if you're still hanging out, man, we are trying everything possible to figure out why you can't comment in the live stream. So just hang in there, bud. I know that we're working together on it. And, yeah. Oh, it's not just craziness, dude. It is total just insanity. I'm an absolute wreck and a disaster. You guys have an absolutely wonderful day, and above all else, find your way. She wanted to pick on me last time we had a stream, so I let her do it. All right, we'll see you guys next